and welcome back. Today we're going to make a one seam skirt. Crazy, right? How are we going to do that? I'm going to show you. First, you're going to start off with, I'm using a knit fabric. You can use any kind of flowy fabric, like a what they call like a lawn fabric, something that's lightweight. I'm preparing for spring and summer, as you guys already know. I made the reversible bikini last week, and I'm going to be making a lot more things for spring and summer for me and for my daughter. The great thing about this tutorial is that you can make this for you or your daughter. So first, you're going to start off with 1 to 2 yards of fabric, depending on what you like and your size. I just needed 1 yard. I measured down 26, and this part of the fabric is actually going to be the back, and we'll get into that shortly. You're going to need elastic. I'm using a really soft elastic. It's not a non-roll, but measure this the size of your waist. And all you're going to need to do next is sew it. So let's get started. So what you're going to do to start is measure your waist, or how you want it. You can measure it with the measuring tape, or you can easily just take the fabric around your waist and decide where you want it. Now, my suggestion to you is, if you're using a knit fabric, to measure a little bit less. So this part of our fabric is folded, and I just have my fabric folded this way just to show you. This is purely for tutorial purposes. Do whatever is easiest for you. So you're going to measure half of your waist. Whatever half of your waist is, this is the opening, like I said. You're going to measure half of that. Measure slightly less than what your waist is, just because this is a stretch fabric. You're going to pin that. As you can see, I have mine pinned here. This is open, this is open, the bottom is open. And at your fold, like I said, is going to be the back of the skirt. So now what you want to do is take your measuring tape, decide how long you want it, and this is going to be the front measurement of your skirt. So I want mine to be around 22, and I already have my markings here, so I know where to cut. You're going to measure diagonally your pivot, and this is basically where you're turning your measuring tape to measure down, and you're going to start that pivot right where you pinned your half of waist. So now what you're going to do is cut a half circle on the opposite side of where your waist measurement is. If this doesn't make sense to you, please ask questions. I know when you're doing like circle skirts or half circles and you're doing measurements, sometimes it could be really confusing. So if it's confusing to you, please ask me any questions that you may have. So once you have that marked, you're going to go ahead and cut, like I said, a half circle where you just measured. So I'm going to start my half circle here and measure it around. It's going to go all the way around to the front of the fabric. And I'm eyeballing this, guys, so it's a little off, but who cares? I'm just going to snip this part here. Okay, so this is what your skirt should look like right now. At this point, if you want to finish off the ends of your skirt, go ahead and do that. But as you know, with knit fabrics, you really don't have to finish it off because the fabric doesn't fray. It's just for your look, your taste. I'm actually going to give myself a tiny hem. So what I'm going to do before I sew this front piece, I'm actually going to sew a hem. So I'm just going to take my fabric and roll this over. Roll it over one more time. Like I said, I'm just giving myself a tiny little hem here, and I'm going to do a straight stitch. always remember to backstitch. And just go ahead and do that straight stitch all the way down. Okay, so now that we have our bottom hem done, as you can see, I did mine. You can't really see it probably because the thread is matching, but I did do a hem. So now what we're going to do is just sew this part here. The part we measured out for our waist, do not sew that because you won't be able to get into the skirt. So I have a pin here. I'm going to keep my pin here as I sew this piece shut. So actually that's where I'm going to start sewing, and I'm going to do a zigzag stitch for this one. I just do about a 1/4 inch stitch. So I'm going to take that pin out now that I know where I'm sewing. And if your knit fabric tends to roll up a little bit, just unroll it. Back stitch. I'm going to go over mine a few times. Okay. So now just go ahead and do that stitch all the way down. Do not pull on your fabric as you go because you don't want it to curl up. You don't want it to have that stretched look. So just ease it through. Let the sewing machine do its job. And I'm just straightening out my fabric here. A little obsessive compulsive here, people, sorry. It's just me. Back stitch. And now you have your seam. I like to check over mine to make sure it's all closed up. It's just what I do. Now before you turn this right side out, you are going to attach the elastic. So let's prepare your elastic. While you still have your zigzag stitch, go ahead and just stitch this together. Just so I know my elastic won't come apart. And this is what it should look like. Very secure. Okay, so what you're going to do now that you have your elastic prepared, I have this open. I'm just going to hold that open with my hand. I'm going to take my skirt here. I'm going to open that up just a little bit, and I'm going to match the seam of my elastic with the seam of my skirt. And I'm going to put a pin right here, and you'll see why I'm doing it this way shortly. Okay, so now that you have this part, you're going to take the rest of the elastic and you're going to put the skirt inside here like so. And I'm still looking at the wrong side of my fabric right now. This part can be just a bit tricky, so take your time. So what you're going to do is kind of stretch that out just a little bit so you can get this as even as possible. And I'm trying to match top ends to top ends because what we're going to do when we're done is roll this elastic over. Okay, so I'm just going to pin this here. And then you could pin again if you want to, because like I said, with the knit fabrics, they tend to roll. at the edge of them. It's just what it does. I don't know why it does it. Maybe because it's such a soft fabric. And I'm just going to pin again. And you could pin more if you want. This is fine for me. So what it looks like now, it should look like this. Keep in mind, don't stretch this. Don't pull this when you're sewing. Just let the zigzag stitch do its job, because if you do a zigzag stitch, once you put this on, it's still going to have that stretch to it. So you're not going to need to stretch this through when you put it in to the sewing machine when you're sewing this, because it'll be too stretchy, and then when you get ready to put it on, it's going to be too loose. So like I said, keep with the zigzag stitch. What you're going to do is stitch all the way around at the top, right where we have it here at the edge, because like I said, when we're done, we're going to take this and flip it over, and you could do another seam, or you could just leave it the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and sew mine, and we'll see what it looks like when we're done. Okay guys, so this is what it's looking like right now. Like I said, here's our elastic, here's our stitch. Take your skirt. Now I like to kind of open my seam up here just slightly. So now what I'm going to do is take my fabric and roll it over. Now, you can sew this if you want, or you can simply wear your skirt with your seam, with your elastic folded over like this. You will have to adjust it obviously when you wear it, but it's totally up to you. So let's turn this right side out. So now what your skirt looks like is this. So for me, I am actually going to go ahead and sew that, just because I'm not using a non-roll elastic. But as you can see, it's shorter in the front and longer in the back. It's got kind of like a little bit of cascading going on here in the front. So you see what I mean? And once I do sew that down, it's going to look so much better. It's going to be so cute when you put it on with this little front like this that's kind of cascading. It's so cute. It's easy to make. And you could do this in no time. And like I said, this is actually one of my tutorials that would be great for you and your little girl, or your niece, or goddaughter, or granddaughter, whoever it is that you have in your life that you make clothing for. I think this is a really cute piece to make. I like the fabric. I like knits when I wear skirts and things in the spring and summer. I like to wear knits. They're just really, really comfortable. When it's hot, I don't want hot fabrics on me. I tend not to wear a lot of jean material in the summertime just because it's so hot and it's kind of so sticky. But I love cottons, and I love all kinds of knits and like flowy fabrics and things like that. So I am going to make a ton of skirts and dresses and things like that for me in autumn during the summer with knit fabric. I have so much that I've bought. I have so much more that I'm going to buy. It's really fun sewing, and I get most of my sewing ideas when it's warmer. I don't know why. So we'll have a lot more to come. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share it out. Here's our skirt again. This is what it looks like in the back. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and actually sew this down, so I'll have like another seam to do. But it's like a high-low skirt. It's really easy. I call it a one seam skirt. Your seam is right here, and that's going to be covered when it's kind of cascading on you. So it's going to be like kind of cascading in the front and longer in the back. If you want to alter the way that you do your half circle, go ahead and do that. I just gave you the template for something that you can do for a one seam skirt. This is great to make if you're in a crunch, you're going to church on Sunday, you don't really have anything to wear, everything's dirty, you forgot to do your laundry. this skirt can be made in no time. It's a great skirt that you can play around with and make for Easter, for yourself or for your little girl with tulle or chiffon. You can add ruffles around here for a little girl. That would be so cute. So take this tutorial, make something out of it, make something different than what I showed you. If you do use this tutorial for anything, tag me in your photos. I would love to see what you make. I like being contacted by people. If there's something that you want to say to me directly, don't hesitate to email me. Like I said, people have been contacting me, asking me questions about doing different things for them, and you know, stuff that I can make for them. So don't hesitate to ask me. Don't be afraid and think that I'm just this person that's just not going to do anything for you. If I can't do it, I'm going to tell you I can't do it. So feel free to ask me anything you want. Just no derogatory questions or anything like that. I will not respond to those. All of my social media is in the description, as well as the link to my book and some other information there in the description if you need that about me. You could follow my website, which is in the description. If there's anything you want to see me make, please go ahead and ask me in the comments, and I'll see all of you next time. Bye! Hi guys, welcome to this week's video. Today we're going to do a reversible bikini tutorial. I had this request so long ago, like maybe right before winter, and I just had so many other things going on that I just never got around to it. So today this is what we're going to do. I'm not going to show you how to make the pattern because I already have a video up describing how to make the pattern and everything, so you can just check that video out. I will link that at the end of this video so you can see how to make your own pattern. So what you want to have is 2 pieces for the back. Right now I'm using a pattern piece, which will be my main piece for my back, and then you need another color to have for the reversible, so I'm using a solid for that. This is my choice. You can do it how you want. You can have 2 pattern pieces, you can have 1 pattern printed piece, or a plain, or you can have 2 solid color pieces of fabric, and you're going to need 2 for the front part as well as the top. You're going to need 2 different colors for each side. And also you're going to need to cut some strips for the straps. All of this, I show you how to do all of that in the first video. So today, like I said, we're just going to put this together, and I'm just going to show you how to do a reversible bikini bathing suit. So let's get started.